Hello, everybody. Welcome to this session. Today, we have an English session specially for IBPS RRB Clerk Main Examination. Okay, but this is also going to be useful for anybody who is planning to appear for any bank examination, government examination, etc. because the question types are specifically on the lines of IBPS RRB Clerk Main exams. However, it's just about the presentation, okay? The principles tested or the testing points will be more or less the same for any exam. Okay, so I'm just making sure that my chat box is also ready, that I can see my chat box. So if any of you have any queries during the session, anything you would like me to address, please put your comments in the chat box. Okay, so we have picked two question types which are prevalent in IBPS RRB Clerk Main exam, but also are very important for almost all exams. That is fill in the blanks and para jumbles. Okay, para formation or para jumbles. As you know, these questions can take on several presentations, right? So we have picked those patterns that that have been appearing consistently in this RRB Clerk Main exam. Fine. Fill in the blanks, as you know, is vocabulary based question type. As we deal with these questions, I will share whatever tips I can think of. Okay, fine. Here we go. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel if you have not done so already for more such useful videos, not only in English, but in all subject areas pertinent to all bank and government examinations. Okay, here we go. The first set of questions is to do with two-sentence FIBs, two-sentence fill in the blanks. So let us start the questions right away. There are two blanks in each of the questions, each of the sentences. We need to select the set of words for the blanks, okay? Set of words. So, the trick here is when there are more than one blank, when there are two or more blanks, you need to read the entire sentence before deciding your answer. Because if you look at a particular blank, more than one word may fit in. We will also look at how to analyze the tone of the sentence in order to pick the tone of the word required, etc. So please listen carefully. The first sentence altogether, a good portion of the factory workers and others caught up in the downsizing adjustments. Downsizing, you know what it means, right? Layoffs, firing many people in order to reduce the headcount in the organization. And also look at the phrasal verb used here, caught up. Caught up means sort of trapped. So caught up in the downsizing adjustments. This part, is it negative or positive? The tone? The tone is clearly negative, right? I'm showing you some tricks to analyze a sentence quickly. Okay. Now, to downsizing adjustments to a new fiercely dash economy. Fierce is usually, it has slight negative connotations. Connotation means shades. Okay. Okay. So these people who, the factory workers, have grown contemptuous and suspicious. What kind of words are these? Again, negative words. Contemptuous is full of scorn and suspicious. skeptical of their leaders and their government, regarding them as dash or even destructive. What kind of word do we need here? Very clearly negative. First one also probably negative. We don't know. But this second one is clearly negative. Now, a little clue here is regarding them as dash or even destructive. So what does that mean? It is clearly a negative word, but maybe slightly milder compared to destructive, right? Because destructive is a degree higher. That is why they are saying dash or even destructive. Got it? These are the clues you pick up in order to answer it accurately. Now let us look at the options. Competitive noun. If you know the concept of collocation, if you are our student, you definitely know this concept. If you are a T.I.M.E student, we keep discussing connotation, collocation in our classes. If you know the concept of collocation, C-A-T-I-O-N, okay, my pen tab is not really very smooth, T-I-O-N. So collocation means what goes with what. Like the example I always use is Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We can still say Happy Christmas, but do we say Merry New Year? No, we don't. Though the words happy and merry essentially broadly mean the same. So what goes with what? If you know the collocation of competitive and fierce, then you know fiercely competitive is a pair. They are made for each other. Okay, fiercely competitive economy. So this is definitely apt here. And their government regarding, okay, their leaders and their government regarding them as irrelevant or even destructive. Yes, irrelevant is a mild word. Destructive is a very severe, intense word, right? So this should be the right answer, but let us check out the other options. Buoyant, to a new fiercely buoyant economy. Buoyant is a very positive word, right? So downsizing adjustments to a new fiercely buoyant economy doesn't make sense. We saw that the tone of the entire sentence is negative. Buoyant is something that is rising and flourishing. So this cannot be. Incompetent or even destructive is okay, but buoyant will not fit in. New fiercely sagging economy. An economy can't fiercely sag. Sag is to go down. It cannot be a fiercely sagging economy. Sagging is a sad word. Fierce is a, what do you say? It's a word full of energy, often negative. So this does not make sense, though ineffective may be okay here in the second blank. That's why I said you have to check both the blanks. To a new fiercely monopolistic economy. There is nothing. Downsizing may not lead to a monopolistic economy. Monopolistic is out of context here, right? Condemnable or even destructive. Condemnable is as strong as destructive. So that also does not make sense here. To a new fiercely resilient economy. See, downsizing, if the economy is that resilient, then there is no need for downsizing really. Resilient is being able to withstand any crisis situation. So that word, and it is a positive word again. Okay, we do not need such a strongly positive word here. So that does not make sense. Inept means not adept, not good at, not, it's the opposite of adept. Okay. Opposite of what? Adept. I'm just putting this word here because it's a useful word for you all. Not good at is the meaning of inept. That is okay, but resilient will not fit in. So what is our answer now? Answer is option 1. Okay, next sentence. Research suggests that the connection between job satisfaction and performance is something. Okay, we don't know whether the intended word is positive or negative yet. Is something as performance does not dash in response to increased job satisfaction. Okay, now we cannot really make out what they're trying to say because the connection between job satisfaction and performance is either strong or not strong. If it is strong, then performance must improve in response to increased job satisfaction. So here it is saying does not dash. It cannot be does not decrease. Performance has to improve, right? So if performance does not improve in response to job satisfaction, then the connection should be weak. So for now, our guess is that the first blank means weak, but let us see. Okay, now let us put each one here, each pair in the respective blanks. Research suggests that the connection between job satisfaction and performance is direct. As performance does not increase in response to increase, if it is direct, then it has to increase in response to job satisfaction. So this is wrong. Okay. Is fragile. Fragile means weak. As performance does not decrease in response to increased job satisfaction. See, performance is anyway not going to decrease when job satisfaction increases. It has to increase. So does not increase is what will make sense, right? This does not make sense. Is weak, okay, as performance does not diminish. Again, decrease and diminish are the same. So this concept of performance not decreasing does not make sense. Nobody is expecting performance to decrease with job satisfaction. Is tenuous. Tenuous also means very weak and fragile. Okay, tenuous, as performance does not rise, does not increase. This is what we were talking about. We need something to mean increase because the connection is weak because performance does not increase in response to increased job satisfaction. If it increases in response, then the connection is strong. Correct? So this should be the answer. The connection is obvious as performance does not boost in response to. That does not make sense. If the connection is obvious, performance has to improve. Moreover, you do not say performance does not boost. Boost is a word that is used in connection, boost something, a transitive verb, okay? Something does not boost performance. You don't say performance does not boost. So, what is the answer? Option 4. Okay. The dash stand adopted by both the sparring countries. Sparring countries means fighting countries, right? Will not further world dash. Okay. Will not further means here further is used as a verb, okay? Not adjective. Will not further improve or further worsen, that there it would be used as an adjective. Here it is but here it is used as a verb. Will not further means will not advance the cause of or will not lead to the progress of. Okay, so both the countries are sparring. So their stand, whatever it is, cannot be a positive stand. If two countries are fighting, whatever stand they took, it would not be a very good stand, right? So the stand adopted by them will not further world peace. Correct? That is common sense. Let's see. The obstinate stand adopted by both the sparring countries will not further world campaign. World campaign, what is world campaign? Does not make sense. Obstinate is okay. Obstinate means stubborn. Okay. Unwilling to adjust or unwilling to yield. That is fine. The first word is fine, but campaign does not make sense. So this is out. Okay. The belligerent stand, belligerent is fighting, warring in a state of conflict. The belligerent stand is okay by both the sparring countries will not further world struggle. First of all, collocation. Collocation, we saw the word. We don't say world struggle. And anyway, if it is a belligerent stand, then it will lead to some kind of struggle. So this does not make sense. The pugnacious stand. Pugnacious is similar to obstinate or even belligerent. Pugnacious again means defiant, full of opposition. Okay. Will not further world war. Does not make sense. Now they are fighting, whether it's a world war or not, they are fighting, right? The antagonistic stand, antagonistic is full of hatred. See, you can see that almost all the words will fit into the first blank, but none of them will fit into the second blank. Antagonistic stand will not further world rivalry. World rivalry, the whole world is not in a state of rivalry. That does not make sense. And anyway, if it is antagonistic, there is rivalry between them. The truculent stand adopted by both. The truculent is again defiant. Okay, very stubborn and defiant, full of opposition. Stand adopted by both the sparring countries will not further world peace. Straightforward word. In the second blank, we had said that this is the best word for the second. So 5 is the answer. The socialist pattern of society is not dash, as it is not based on fixed principles, allowing flexible. Okay, so let's put a comma here to understand it better. Allowing flexibility and dash, flexibility and dash. So when the conjunction used is and, the word here will be something similar to flexibility, right? Yeah, okay. Let's just, I'm showing you various approaches. Okay, just out of curiosity, let us look at which words are similar to flexibility. Probability, no. Adaptability, yes. Flexibility and adaptability. So this we have to shortlist. Obstinacy is the opposite of flexibility. Obstinacy means stubbornness. So this is ruled out. Stiffness is the opposite of flexibility. Stiffness means rigidity. So this is also ruled out. See, in some questions, just looking at the options, you can rule out several of them. Flexibility and creativity. Okay, fine. Flexibility and creativity, not synonyms, but creativity is also a positive word. So maybe. Now see, you don't need to look at the other options. So shall I just show you these two options? No words, difficult words in the other options. I have to show you some tricks also. No, that's why. Okay. The social, let's only look at options 2 and 5. The socialist pattern of society is not rigid, as it is not based on fixed principles. Yeah, rigid means fixed. Correct. Allowing flexibility. Flexibility is the opposite of rigidity. And adaptability. This option is perfect. The socialist pattern of society is not favorable, as it is not based on fixed principles, allowing flexibility. If it is allowing flexibility, then it is favorable. Allowing flexibility and creativity is okay to accommodate changing social dynamics, but then you can't say it is not favorable. Hence, very easily we got the answer. Okay? Yeah. So, run your eyes over the options first, and very often you may be able to eliminate some of them like this. Okay, so let me try and show you. See, this will work when many of the options are easily eliminable. Okay, when some options are very, very close, then this may not work. Washing the hands with soap and keeping them dash always reduces the risk of washing hands. We know is a good thing, correct? Washing hands with soap, keeping them. So if you wash your hands with soap, what will happen? They will be clean. Always reduces the risk of what? Of some disease or infection or something like that. There you go, one option. Washing the hands with soap and keeping them clean always reduces the risk of infection. This was a very easy one, of course. Yeah. Keeping them untidy. It can't be untidy, shabby. All these are very negative words. You can straight away eliminate them, right? Infection, sickness, ailment, okay. Ailment is a long-term thing, really. Infection and sickness, okay. but the first words can be easily eliminated in all the options except. Okay. Now we are going to look at tricks in almost all the questions wherever we can. Now, what we have here is 3 blanks. Okay, 3 blank fill in the blanks. When you have 3 blanks, the work becomes a little extra from your side. You have to patiently read the entire sentence. The sentence will also be longer when it is 3 blanks, right? Okay. Thousands of volunteers across different nations were dashed to contribute to the campaign, were brought in or were asked, right, to contribute to the campaign that aimed to dash the harmful effects of plastic. Okay. Aimed to dash the harmful effects of, okay, it is a campaign. Okay. Harmful effects of plastic on plastic dash on marine life and the environment, use of plastic or pollution due to plastic. If it is a campaign, can a campaign reduce the harmful effects of plastic? Unlikely. It can raise awareness on the harmful effects of plastic. Correct? Let us see. Okay. So, thousands of volunteers were trained to contribute, okay, to the campaign. Volunteers were trained to contribute to the campaign. Maybe we don't know what kind of campaign it is that aimed to obscure. To obscure is to cover up or to sort of make it fade away. That collocation again, that doesn't really fit in to this context. Okay, if any of you have any comments, anything, please post in the chat box, guys. Okay. So that doesn't fit here. That aimed, yeah, to obscure the harmful effects of plastic disposal, plastic waste disposal. This really does not make sense. Obscure definitely does not fit. We can eliminate this. Thousands of volunteers were forced. Will volunteers be forced? This is called an oxymoron when two conflicting words come together. Volunteers cannot be forced, right? Volunteers, they have volunteered. So forced to contribute to the campaign that aim to highlight is okay, but plastic promotion again doesn't make sense. Just forced volunteers should tell you this cannot be the answer. Thousands of volunteers were urged, okay? Urging is okay. They were encouraged, that is okay. Urged to contribute to the campaign that aimed to emphasize, is correct, the harmful effects of plastic pollution on marine life and the environment. They were encouraged. Volunteers, you can encourage volunteers, you can't force them. This seems fine. Let us see. Across different nations were allowed to contribute to the campaign that aimed to neglect the effects of plastic creation. None of these words make sense, right? They don't fit in. Okay. Were requested is okay, to contribute to the campaign that aimed to conceal the harmful effects of plastic, to hide the effects of plastic. The campaign is a positive word, right? And plastic reduction. Harmful effects of plastic reduction, that also does not make sense. So, easy to eliminate. Answer is 3. To ensure financial stability, central banks across the world were dash to closely dash. Okay, to closely dash the sudden dash of digital transactions and cryptocurrency usage to ensure financial stability. Central banks across the world were asked to closely monitor goes well, maybe, let us see, or closely watch the sudden increase in, but it should be some word that goes with off, but meaning increase, right? Okay, now let us see. Central banks across the world were encouraged to closely ignore. You can't closely ignore something. That does not make sense. Sudden expansion is okay, but closely ignore, again, these two words don't match at all. There's clear mismatch, right? Closely watch or closely. If you are ignoring, then you're not close to it. Totally irrelevant word here. Okay. Central banks were requested, unlikely, but okay, to closely overlook the sudden dip of digital transactions to ensure financial stability. We know, see, this is common sense. We know there is no dip in. First of all, it's not dip off, it is dip in. There is no dip in digital transactions, there is an increase, right? And if there is a dip, then why financial stability? Why there is a problem with stability? So this does not make sense. Banks were advised to closely delay. Again, you can't closely delay something. The sudden collapse of, no, these words don't make sense. Were warned to closely abandon. Again, see, all these words, delay, ignore, abandon, are about throwing away something. So they do not collocate with with closely. If there is anybody who is watching it now, earlier I had used this word collocation. Collocation means what goes with what. Okay, what word goes with what. And directed, central banks were directed to closely monitor perfect collocation, the sudden surge of digital transactions and cryptocurrency usage. When there is a sudden increase in online transactions, it can affect financial stability, right? Okay. Fine, got it? During the global economic recession, governments were to urgently stimulus packages during the recession, to urgently give out, right? Offer maybe stimulus packages because there's a recession, people need some incentive to counter the sharp dash in employment and consumer spending. In recession, what happens to employment and spending? Does it increase or decrease? Decrease, right? So were to urgently start giving stimulus packages to counter the sharp fall in employment and consumer spending. Shall we see what words we can eliminate straight away? Yeah, like I said earlier, let us see, because I see a rise here. We need sharp fall because we are talking of recession. So rise, boom, growth. Now, how many options do we have? Only 4 and 5. Okay, exam trick. I'm not going to take all the options and show you in this question. See, that is what, when you see certain options, if you just run your eyes over the options, okay, which question was this for? Okay, you are saying 5 and 3. I just saw the answer. Aman Kumar, for which question is this? 5 and 3, I just saw your answers. Sorry, I think they popped up late. So you can answer this question if you have already found the answer, okay? I guess these are the answers to the previous questions, right? So you can put your answer to this question, to question 8, if you have your answer ready. Okay. So now we only need to check 4 and 5. There are no difficult words in the other options. So, governments were advised to urgently implement stimulus packages. Implement packages means to offer them, give them, to counter the sharp decline in employment and consumer spending. Perfect, right? Okay, small tick because we don't know what the other option is. Okay, warned. Governments were warned to urgently ignore stimulus packages. Again, like I said earlier, closely ignore, urgently ignore does not make sense, right? To counter the sharp drop. Drop is okay, but if they ignore stimulus packages when there is a recession, it would be disastrous. So the answer is indeed option 4. Okay. You were saying 5 for this question, Aman, but see, it doesn't make sense here, right, Aman? If you say urgently ignore stimulus packages to counter the sharp drop. What is stimulus? Stimulus means what? Encouragement. So stimulus package is some kind of incentive. We don't know what exactly it means in this context, but it is some kind of incentive to the people. In recession times, they need some incentive, right? So you can't ignore these packages. First of all, governments ignoring a package does not make sense. They either implement it or they distribute it or they withdraw it. Government cannot ignore a package because it belongs to them, right? And also urgently ignore will not make sense. Okay, fine. Hope you understood this. Okay. Please continue posting your answers for all these questions. With the rise of e-commerce platforms, traditional retailers were dash their digital presence. Okay, e-commerce platforms. So traditional retailers were maybe forced to increase their digital presence to remain dash in a highly competitive market, to remain what? To remain strong in a highly competitive market. Based on the third option, can we eliminate anything here? Invisible, we can eliminate. They don't want to be invisible, right? Profitable, secure, signify. Okay, this option we can straight away eliminate based on the third plan. Now, let us see. Traditional retailers were forced to expand their digital presence to remain relevant in a competitive market. Correct. Let us see. Were requested to. Who requested them? To limit their digital presence to remain profitable. If there is e-commerce, they cannot limit. Okay, now let us see. Limit, abandon, ignore. Straight away finished. Answer is option 1. Why? Because when there is e-commerce, the traditional retailers have to expand, not limit or ignore. So we know we need a positive word in blank to straight away we get the answer. Okay. One more fill in the blank question. And yeah, in recent years, the researchers have been dash advanced technologies to better dash the mysteries of deep space and the origin of the universe. Researchers have been encouraged to adopt or to maybe develop something like that, or to expand something like that, a positive word, right? To better understand the mysteries of. So now they have been encouraged to, correct? So what can we eliminate here? Ignored. They have been ignored to. That does not make sense. Forced to, maybe they've been advised to, permitted to, to dash advanced technology. Researchers have been permitted to. That really does not make sense. They don't need permission. Who permitted them? Not likely. Not likely. Now, to dash advanced technologies, to a positive word. So not reject. Anyway, this option we have ruled out. To develop, okay. To simplify advanced technologies, forced to simplify. Okay, let us see whether this makes sense. Abandon is a negative word. We can rule this out. We need a positive word. Delay is a negative word. So this also we have ruled out. Okay. Now what do we have? We have only options 2 and 3. Any answer here? Amen or others? Researchers have been encouraged, this we saw, encouraged to develop advanced technologies to better explore the mysteries of deep space. Perfect. Forced to simplify advanced technologies to better conceal the mysteries of deep space. Why will we want to hide the mystery? They're already mysterious. We want to explore them. We don't need to conceal them. They are already hidden. They are mysteries. We need to reveal them, not conceal them. Right? So what is the answer now? Answer is option 2. Very good. Who is that? Sheikh Farzana. Very good. Now, we are done with fill in the blanks. We have para formation. In these exams, One way of doing para formation is looking at the options and directly trying to see which of these options fits. However, I would say if we can at least identify some kind of logic, a couple of sentences, starting sentence, what comes next, if we can find certain patterns, then that will be better. Otherwise, if you take each combination and try to solve it, it will be very time consuming. Okay, so yeah, let me show you how we try and solve it partially and then look at the options. Okay, since we have options, yes, I have to show you here I'm not teaching. In a classroom, I would show you how to solve it sentence by sentence, but here I'm not teaching but showing you some tricks. Okay, so we will do a combination of unscrambling it and then looking at the options. Unlike its neighbors, Thailand and Vietnam, now you see a pronoun here, its, right? However, it refers to a word in the same sentence, Laos, has never had much of a movie industry. So this can start the para because the referent of the pronoun its is in this sentence itself. It refers to Laos, right? Okay. This could be the topic that Laos does not have a movie industry, but let us see. But beyond that, beyond something, so this cannot be the starting sentence. A lack of resources. So is there anything starting with B here? Any option? No. No. A lack of resources and equipment thwarted efforts to develop an independent movie making scene. Thwarted means destroyed, crushed. With the exception of a trickle of patriotic stories funded by the government, such as the sound of gunfire from the plain of Jars, the production of movies for entertainment never really took off. Where in Laos, so there is no context. C cannot start the para. Can we eliminate anything? Yes. C cannot start the para, right? Because there is no context. They understood, right? And movies for entertainment never really took off. Where? In Laos. So this cannot start the para. We need the mention of Laos before that. When the communists took control in 1975, propaganda films became an integral part of nation building. Which building? Which nation? Laos. So again, you cannot start with D. After it gained independence from France in 1949, the countries, which countries? Laos. Now, we only need to look at AEBDC, AEDBC. Only these two options. Let us quickly check these. AE. So, unlike its neighbors, Thailand and Vietnam, Laos has never had much of a movie industry. After it gained independence from France, okay, we are going back to history. Okay, this order, okay? Let us try it out quickly. In 1949, the country's royalist and communist factions each churned out propaganda documentaries to support their respective causes. Okay, only documentaries were made by the governments. Then B, let's go to B. But beyond that, beyond what? Beyond this trend of propaganda, a lack of resources and equipment thwarted efforts to develop an independent movie making scene. Yes, yes, here this movie, whatever movie making was there was dependent on the government because it was only churning out documentaries, propaganda documentaries, propaganda, to promote their own cause. Beyond that, lack of resources, etc. This seems to make sense. When the communists took control in 1975, okay, so we talked of 49, then 75, propaganda films became an integral part of nation building, with the exception of a trickle of patriotic stories in 83. See, chronological order also works here. 49, 75, 83. Not always, okay, don't go for this order in all questions, but here it works. The production of movies for entertainment never really took off. So that is this sad story here. A, B, D, C seems to be the answer. What about A, D, B, C? after it gained independence from France in 49, okay, propaganda documentaries. And then you were saying when the communists took control in 75, and then beyond that, a lack of resources and equipment thwarted. Okay, no, this is actually right from the beginning, right? A lack of resources and equipment thwarted efforts to develop an independent movie making scene. After this should be right in the beginning, because otherwise, after they gained independence, they should immediately start making these movies. So, A, E, B, D, C is the more logical order, but you have a very close option. Close option. Okay, so in exams with negative marking, I wouldn't advise you to answer such questions if you are not very sure. Okay, fine. Any questions for me here? So far, any questions? One more para formation question and then we are done. Now look at this, guys. In this para formation question, it's a very long one. Okay, it's a very lengthy one. The questions, see, though it is a lengthy one, the advantage is that you have multiple questions based on this. Sixth one, third one, fourth one, first one. Once you figure out the order, the you can get multiple questions. So it's a scoring. It's like RC. It's a scoring question here because there are questions on the positions of sentences. And moreover, one sentence is fixed, the sentence in bold. Similarly, Great Nicobar Island is being eyed for development into a luxurious hub. So similarly, Great Nicobar Island is being eyed for development. So what will come before this? Something about another place being developed, right? Something like that. When we say the position of this sentence is fixed. So before this, what will come? Some place, some other place is also being developed into something, right? Is there any mention of any place here? Let us see. Because then we will already get a pair, no? Understood, right, guys? Huh? See, a recent declaration by former US President Donald Trump epitomizes this approach, some approach. He suggested that the Gaza Strip could be transformed into a beachfront paradise, asserting that while the land is beautiful, its current inhabitants must vacate to take off everybody from Gaza Strip and transform it into a tourist space. This could be the sentence before E. So E is in the fifth place. This could be the fourth sentence. We can change it, okay, later. But I'm looking for shortcuts. So, similarly, Nicobar Island is being eyed for development despite the inevitable consequence for its native flora, fauna and indigenous communities. Very similar, no? GNE. They are trying to displace the people and develop tourism. Understood, right? So, we seem to have a pair here. Let us see. Now, we need to find the rest of the order. Okay. Quickly, this is a time-consuming question, but there are 7 sentences, so you should get 7 questions once you solve this puzzle or question. Let us see. The local populations residing in these areas are often viewed as obstacles to progress. That is what we saw now. So, leading to their displacement to marginalized shanty towns. Shanty towns are the backward areas, far from the gaze of the middle and upper classes. Now, this sentence should come somewhere before G and E. We don't know if it is immediately before G and E, but G and E are examples of this, correct? Of people being displaced. Understood, no? Guys, if you have any question, please are you able to understand what I'm saying? Can you please let me know the logic? As deforestation accelerates and land is rapidly appropriated for mining and real estate ventures, it becomes imperative to scrutinize the government's interpretation of development. Can that be the starting sentence? It is a very general sentence actually. Which government? any any government. Maybe, let's keep this here. This transformation, what transformation we have to see? Is there any sentence so far about transformation? No. Is aimed at creating zones for high profit extraction and luxury developments, including upscale residences, exclusive enclaves, resorts, and tourist destinations catering to the affluent. Now, all the stories will come before displacement, before local populations being seen as an obstacle, right? There is some development plan being visualized, and hence the local populations are an obstacle. So now we have figured out C comes before A, then A comes before G and E. G and E form a pair as of now, and E is in the fifth position. So much we have figured out. The increasing pace, at which these transformations occur. We saw transformation where? We saw transformation in a previous sentence, right? Didn't we? Yeah. Can you find transformation, guys? Yeah, here. This transformation. But here it is plural. These transformations occur raises critical questions about sustainability and the long-term impacts on both the environment and local communities. So this could be after all the displacement and everything, right? Long-term impacts on environment and local communities, because they are being forced to be displaced. Flora and fauna and communities are being displaced. So D might come somewhere towards the end. Let us see. I'm not putting it here because we can't be sure. Now E is here only. Over the past 5 decades, particularly in the last decade, the term development has become a straightforward and troubling reality, and it primarily refers to the transfer of valuable natural landscapes into the hands of mining and real estate interests. Why did I put a big tick there? Because this is clearly the topic sentence. It is defining what development has become, and this is the transformation they were talking about. And what has it become? It has become a troubling concept because development refers to transfer of valuable natural resources into the hands of commercial interests, mining and real estate interests. And we saw something else here. This transformation is aimed at creating zones for high profit extraction, mining, and luxury developments. Now, F and C form a pair. This transformation refers to this has become. F and C form a pair also. Okay, we still have some blanks here. A recent declaration by former US President. Okay, G we already placed here. Now what do we need to place? We need to place D, and we need to place, did we place B? No, we need to place D and B. Correct? So let us see. F starts the discussion. Okay, transformation, a very troubling transformation. It is meant to help all these high profit industries. Then what is the story? Local population is being displaced. And so this is our order so far. Okay, G and E. So now FCA is the process of transformation, the troubling transformation. G and E are the examples for this. Then we have B and D, which are the consequences. Correct? After they are displaced come the consequences. As deforestation accelerates and land is rapidly appropriated, it becomes imperative to scrutinize the government's interpretation of development. Okay, why? So, because of all this, it becomes important to scrutinize, to closely watch what the government is doing in the name of development, because this raises critical questions about sustainability and the long-term impacts on both the environment and local communities. Okay, so even if you get one or two sentences wrong here, you will still be able to answer majority of the questions. The order is this. Okay, F, C, A, G, E, B, D. Now you have all these questions. Sixth sentence. What is sixth sentence? B. Right? B. I'm not going to answer all of them. Okay, sixth sentence. First sentence is F. Third sentence is A. Like that. You get 7 questions. Fine. So even if you get 1 or 2 wrong here, it is okay. You will get the majority of questions. Okay, so we have done 2 major question types. Any questions for me, guys? Please keep watching this space because we'll be back with many more such useful videos in all these subject areas. Do subscribe to our channels on various platforms. And if you have not joined us already, please feel welcome to walk into any time center near your residence, or you can enroll online using this link. Okay. Thank you and all the best with your preparations.